Dragi učenici, dobrodošli u video lekcije za 4. razred srednje škole. Naziv ove video lekcije je Job Interview u okviru teme Entrepreneurs, a ja sam Arjana Blažić. Odgojno-obrazovni ishodi ove lekcije: učenik sluša izvorni tekst o razgovoru za posao i učenik čita izvorni tekst o neobičnim pitanjima za posao. Treba vam bilježnica, pribor za pisanje i uređaj s pristupom internetu. In our previous lessons, you learned how to write your CV and a cover letter, and now we are going to talk about job interviews and the interview process. Before we start our today's lesson, think about what you already know about job interviews, and also what would you like to learn about job interviews. Copy this table in your notebook and write your answers in the first two columns. The first column is what I know, and the second what I want to know. You will answer the third question at the end of this lesson. Pause the video now to answer the questions. There are usually a lot of applicants who apply for a job, but not all of them will be invited for a job interview. Only the candidates with the best qualifications will get the opportunity for an interview. So if you are one of the invited candidates, you will want to make sure that you are well prepared for your job interview. A job interview is a conversation between a job applicant and a representative of the employer, a hiring manager or a recruiter. Sometimes applicants are interviewed by a panel of interviewers. Panel interviews are conducted by a group of 2 or more interviewers. The interviewer asks questions about the applicant's experience, skills, qualifications, and work history to assess whether the applicant should be hired or not. Job interviews usually last between 30 and 45 minutes, and they are conducted face-to-face or through video conferencing. You are now going to watch an animated video about job interview preparation and best practices. But before you do, let's look at the meanings of some words in the video. Copy these words in your notebooks: demeanor, slouch, squarely, factor in, and off guard. Here are the definitions. Your task is to match the words on the left with their definitions. Unprepared for something difficult. Sit or stand with your head and shoulders bent forward. Include a particular fact or situation when you are planning something. The way that somebody looks or behaves. Directly or straight. Check your answers now. Demeanor is the way that somebody looks or behaves. For example, he asked about your demeanor. Slouch means to sit or stand with your head and shoulders bent forward. For example, don't slouch. Squarely means directly or straight. For example, sit squarely, or I looked him squarely in the eye. Factor in means to include a particular fact or situation when you are planning something. For example, make sure to factor in the possibility of a late train or bus. And off guard means unprepared for something difficult or for a surprise. For example, I was caught off guard, or her questions caught me completely off guard. You are now going to watch an animated video to find out how to prepare for an interview. While watching, take notes about the following: how to dress for a job interview, how do social media affect job applicants, what should you do while waiting for the interview to start, what kind of questions will you be asked and how can you prepare your answers. Type in this bit.ly link in the address bar, bit.ly/intprep456. Pause this video and take notes while watching the video about the preparation for the interview. I hope you liked the video and I hope you have all the answers. Now you can check your answers. So the first question was about the dress code. As it is important to make a good first impression at a job interview, you should wear professional or business attire. The word attire means clothes, especially fine or formal ones. For example, in a sentence, he was dressed in formal evening attire. So no loud colors, clean and iron clothes, and neat hairstyle. The second question was about your online presence. You should clean up your online presence, keep it clean and professional. You should delete any inappropriate or unprofessional content before applying for a job, because according to research, employers do check out applicants' social media profiles. They conduct social screenings to look for information supporting a candidate's qualifications for the job. Good advice is to use social media to your benefit and impress the employer with your professional online presence. The third question was about what you should do and how you should behave while waiting for the interview. You should arrive 10 to 15 minutes before the interview starts, and you should factor in anything that might happen on the way, such as a late bus or train. You should treat everyone with respect, because the hiring manager might ask someone else about your demeanor in the waiting room. You should smile, be friendly, greet everyone with a firm handshake, use positive body language, sit squarely and confidently in your chair, do not slouch, and do not use your mobile phone. The fourth question was about preparing for the questions. The hiring manager might ask you. So you should practice your answers. You should read the job description carefully for any specific skills, such as problem solving or teamwork skills, and prepare your answers so that you are not caught off guard. Research the company's website. Find out more about their values, services, history, and include this information in your answers. Here are some words from the video. Copy these words in your notebooks and form the opposites by adding prefixes in, im, or on. The words are appropriately, professional, visible, friendly, patiently, experienced, sincere, prepared, and perfect. And here are the answers. Inappropriately, insincere, invisible, inexperienced, unfriendly, unprofessional, unprepared, impatiently, and imperfect. Your task is now to choose 5 words from the list and write 5 sentences with these words. For example, he behaved inappropriately. What's the best advice for inexperienced drivers? And we were waiting impatiently for the movie to start. Here are some of the most common job interview questions. Please tell me about your educational background. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Please give me an example of how you dealt with a difficult situation. What can you bring to the company? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you have any questions for us? Take the time to review the questions you will most likely be asked and prepare your answers before each interview. Instead of traditional questions, employers can sometimes ask questions that include some kind of a scenario or a hypothetical situation. They give you a problem and ask you how you would solve it. They want to see how creative you are and how you deal with problems. For example, how would you deal with an angry client on the phone? Your colleague is stealing supplies. Would you report him? You need to complete several complex tasks with different deadlines. How do you handle this? Or you are not getting along with your manager. What would you do? Sometimes applicants are given brain teasers and very unusual problems. Google is famous for its brain teasers and tricky questions, as featured in the movie The Internship. You are shrunken down to the size of nickels and dropped to the bottom of a blender. The blades will start moving in 60 seconds. What do you do? So you can now watch the video clip from the movie The Internship to find out more how Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson answered this question. Open this link, type it in your address bar, bit.ly internship clip, and watch the video. Here are some questions that Google recruiters use to ask job candidates at interviews. You are in a car with a helium balloon on a string that is tied to the floor. The windows are closed. When you step on the gas pedal, what happens to the balloon? Does it move forward, move backward, or stay put? How many bottles of shampoo are produced in the world in a year? It's raining and you have to get to your car at the far end of the car park. Are you better off running or not, if the goal is to minimize how wet you get? What if you have an umbrella? Follow this link, Google Interview Questions 456, to find the answers and explanations to these questions. You can also find 5 more questions in this document and also the answer to the question from the movie clip. Do you remember the admit slip that you filled in at the beginning of this lesson? Now it's time for the exit slip. You can now complete the third column and write down what you have learned in this lesson. I hope that what you learned is what you wanted to know. Thank you and see you soon.